We are one step closer to Monster Jam's premiere event, the Monster Jam World Finals. A new track layout to tear up, Sparkle Smash debuting, and all the competitors making their way to become the world champion. Speaking of competitors, there are so many of them that made their World Finals debut without reasons to be asked. Some of them don't make any sense, or they're just straight up absurd. So in today's video, in honor of the World Finals, we take a look at the top 6 questionable World Finals invites. But first, let's go over for some rules. Number 1, it needs to be a competitor that made its invite to the main field. Pit party staples or competitors from other competitions are excluded from this list. And number 2, it can be either an independent driver or a Feld employee in the main field. And by the way, I do not mind John Gordon, Ryan Disharoon, and Corey Rummel to compete in the main field, as I will accept their invites. So buckle the truck up, because the main event is about to start. Number 6, Buddy Tompkins in Racing Kane. As you may all remember, Buddy Tompkins and Racing Kane made its main field invite to compete in the 2017 Monster Jam World Finals. Why is this questionable, you may ask? Well, he was originally slated to compete at that year's Young Gun Shootout, but due to the rename to the Double Down Showdown, Racing Kane was later put in the main field instead of that competition. He shouldn't compete in the Double Down Showdown along with the other independent trucks that were slated to compete there. What is the big idea of putting Racing Kane in the main field? This question will most likely never be solved. Before we continue, I'm going to be introducing to the questionable scale, where I'm going to be putting some of the drivers who make their invite to the World Finals on either reasonable or absurd. So, for Buddy Tompkins, I'm going to be putting him in reasonable, the green and yellow aisle. Despite Racing Kane being a good independent truck, and deserving a World Finals main field invite, that might be another reason why Racing Kane is not high enough in the list. Number 5, Randy Moore in War Wizard. Randy Moore competed at the Monster Jam World Finals back in 2009, this time running a rear-engine chassis as opposed to a front-engine one that he used to run since his debut. The reasoning why I put War Wizard in number 5 is because, well, Randy Moore used to be a pit party staple, but back in 2009 he decides to compete at the World Finals with the others. Who in the right mind will invite Randy Moore to the World Finals and compete with them? This is a low performance truck. What in the world possessed Randy Moore to drive this truck to the main field? That might be a complicated question to answer. As for the scale that I'm putting for Randy Moore, I'm putting him in the middle. It can be either absurd or reasonable at the same time, but due to Randy Moore's truck being a low performance one, he will be sitting at number 5. Number 4, Jamie Sullivan in Monster Dalmatian. One of the Arena Championship Series driver pairings is in this list. Jamie Sullivan will make his Monster Jam World Finals main field invite this year. You might be asking, why did I add Jamie Sullivan to the list of questionables? Well, she may be the reason why Chris Kohler is not getting invited to the main field. Now you tell me this, Monster Jam. Why did you invite Jamie Sullivan to the World Finals but not Chris Kohler? Kohler has spent more time trying to be the most popular driver in Monster Jam, representing Team Scream. You just press the randomizer button to make her invited. It's not fair. Chris Kohler deserves to be invited. For the questionable scale, I'm putting Jamie Sullivan in the red side. She is most likely absurd. Since last year, she made her invite to the Superstar Challenge, which that makes it a little underwhelming. So she will be standing on number 4. Number 3, Jeremy Slifco in Backdraft. the son of former Eradicator driver Andy Slifco in a truck primarily owned by the Disharoons? This one is very obnoxious. He got invited to the main field in the 2011 Monster GM World Finals, where he exclusively ran a white paint scheme to the truck, making me a feeling that he's running an ambulance as opposed to a true fire truck. The reason why I put this is because the Slifco family never competed at the World Finals before. Not even his father, Andy Slifco, in Eradicator. Then why did you put Jeremy compete at the World Finals as opposed to his father, Andy? We will never know. As for the scale, I'm going to put Jeremy Slifco into very reasonable. Don't question me, I just put Jeremy in the green side of the scale, because he is right now marked as number 3 in the list. Number 2, all of Overboard Motorsports. Overboard, Black Pearl, Wild Side, Terminal Velocity, you name it. Every single truck from Team Overboard made their invite to the World Finals since 2018. Something that really intrigued me about this overrated independent team. But the winner of the top 2 would go to Cole Bernard in the Black Pearl, because he was the very first Team Overboard truck to be invited to compete in the main field. And he had overdone it for the 4th time. And why did I add a whole independent team in number 2? It's because, well, they added Zach Garner to the main field! Why is Monster GM the most unexpected, unscripted, and unforgettable motorsports in history hand out another Overboard truck to compete in the main field? I'm sure that they really put a wrong ingredient to their pizza. The scale that I'm going to give Team Overboard, including Cole Bernard, a scale of very absurd. I have no idea what in the world is Monster GM cooking with this independent team. I will most likely declare Team Overboard the most overrated racing team in monster truck history. But in the meantime, they will be sitting in number 2. Before we head to number 1, here's some honorable mentions. Number 1, Dalton Widener in Jurassic Attack. Yes, as a matter of fact, the most questionable World Finals invite will go to Dalton Widener in Jurassic Attack, a Team Throttle Monster driver behind the wheel of a Triceratops monster truck that used to be a short wheelbase. This version, however, will be invited to compete at this year's World Finals. Just like I mentioned to Jamie Sullivan in Monster About Dalmatian, the reason why I added this as the most questionable one, it's because fans wanted this truck to compete at the World Finals courtesy to their video games. All they wanted is to make this 10,000-pound dinosaur compete in the main field, specifically the version formerly owned by Don Frankish. Why does Monster GM fans wanted this truck to compete? Who asked for this? Who said yes? Who's responsible for making him compete at the main field? Well, there's a reason about it. Matt Cody, which is another Gravedigger driver, won't accept this automatic bid to the World Finals, so he handed out to him. So Dalton Widener will be the very first and only Team Throttle Monster driver to compete at the World Finals, at least for now. And as for the scale, I'm putting Dalton Widener right in the middle with Randy Moore. Reasonable or absurd? For the monster truck fans who wanted this truck to compete at the World Finals and Matt Cody handing out his bid to the World Finals, this truck will forever go down as the most questionable World Finals invite. And stay tuned as I will publish an extra short about the last chance qualifier after the World Finals. And well, that is all we got for today. I hope you're ready for this year's Monster Jam World Finals at SoFi Stadium. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more future videos. Thanks for watching, and as always, fear the curse and walk the plank. This is Captain Jack, signing out.